This is the case of Johanna Bormann, the Nazi creep who used dogs to harm prisoners. Johanna Bormann was born on September 10, 1893. In Birkenfeld, a village in East Prussia, modern-day Poland, little is documented about her early life, but she came from a modest working-class family, unlike many of the more well-known Nazi figures who were deeply politically motivated or ideologically indoctrinated from youth. Bormann seemed driven more by economic and personal motives. Before joining the SS, she reportedly worked in a hospital or asylum, scrubbing floors for meager wages. At the age of 44, in March 1938, Bormann joined the SS Female Auxiliary Corps, SS Helferinnen, not due to any ideological alignment, but simply, as she claimed later, to earn more money. This statement, given during her post-war trial, illustrates a critical theme in the study of Nazi war criminals, that many ordinary people became complicit in unimaginable atrocities due to ambition, obedience, or self-preservation, rather than fanaticism. Her SS career began at Lichtenberg, one of the early Nazi concentration camps located in Saxony. At Lichtenberg, Bormann was initially a civilian kitchen worker, serving under senior female SS overseers like Jane Bernigau. Her transition from cooking to supervising other women marked the start of her transformation into a camp guard. When Lichtenberg was closed in 1939, many of its staff, including Bormann, were transferred to the newly constructed Ravensbrück camp. Located north of Berlin, Ravensbrück became the largest concentration camp for women in the German Reich. There, Bormann rose to the role of Aufseherin female overseer, a low-ranking but powerful position that gave her control over prisoners and forced labor squads. By 1942, the Nazi extermination apparatus had entered its most intense phase, and Bormann was selected to join the staff at Auschwitz, specifically Birkenau, the notorious extermination camp where hundreds of thousands of Jews and other prisoners were murdered. At Auschwitz, she served under high-ranking SS women such as Maria Mandel, Margot Drexler, and Irma Gries, figures whose names would also become synonymous with cruelty. Bormann became known for her brutal behavior, particularly the use of trained attack dogs to intimidate, injure, and sometimes kill prisoners. These dogs, typically German Shepherds, were a common part of the SS Guards' arsenal, and Bormann reportedly used them with particular zeal. Survivors testified that she used the dogs to tear apart sick, weak, or disobedient inmates, demonstrating a level of sadism that went beyond following orders. Due to her persistent and terrifying use of dogs, Bormann became infamously known as the woman with the dogs. Some prisoners also called her the Weasel due to her sly, unpredictable behavior. Testimonies presented after the war described how she would unleash her dogs without provocation, especially on women who lagged during forced labor or who appeared physically weak. It is important to note that Bormann was not young or glamorous, unlike the infamous Irma Gries. At the time of her crimes, she was in her late 40s and early 50s. She was short in stature, around 5 feet tall, and often described as having a limp, possibly due to a leg deformity. This physical appearance may have influenced both how she was perceived by other guards and how she overcompensated through cruelty. 2. Assert authority. As the war progressed and the front lines drew closer to the Reich, Bormann was transferred. 2 other subcamps, including Beauty, a smaller subcamp of Auschwitz known for its extreme brutality, and Hindenburg, by March 1945, with Nazi Germany collapsing. She was relocated to Bergen-Belsen, a concentration camp in northern Germany. Conditions at Belsen by this time were catastrophic. Tens of thousands of prisoners were dying from starvation, disease, and neglect. When British troops liberated the camp on April 15, 1945, they discovered over 10,000 unburied corpses and more than 60,000 severely malnourished survivors. The SS personnel, including Bormann, were ordered to assist in the burial of the dead and were taken into custody. Bormann was one of 45 individuals put on trial during the Belsen trials, held in Lüneburg, Germany, by a British military tribunal from September to November 1945. She faced charges of war crimes, including mistreatment and murder of prisoners at Auschwitz and Bergen-Belsen. Her defense was typical of many SS guards. She denied direct involvement in murders and claimed she never ordered her dogs to attack. She insisted that she only hit prisoners on occasion when they disobeyed orders. Despite her denials, witness testimony, particularly from other guards and surviving inmates, clearly contradicted her. One key witness, Herta Ellert, another SS guard, testified that Bormann regularly used her dog to attack prisoners and that she enjoyed her reputation for violence. This, coupled with consistent reports from survivors, sealed her fate. Johanna, Bormann was found guilty and sentenced to death by hanging. On December 13, 1945, she was executed at Hamelin Prison by Albert Pierrepoint. Britain's chief executioner, Pierrepoint later described her demeanor as visibly distressed. Bormann reportedly trembled as she was led to the scaffold and in her final moments uttered the words, "I have my feelings too." She was 52 years old at the time of her death. Alongside Bormann, Irma Gries and Elizabeth Volkenrath were also executed the same day, marking one of the rare instances in which female Nazi war criminals were put to death. Johanna Bormann's story is significant not only because of the atrocities she committed, but also because of what it illustrates about ordinary complicity in mass murder. Unlike many senior Nazis, Bormann did not begin with power or status. She was not highly educated, nor particularly ideological. Her path into horror began with a desire for financial stability and unfolded through a system that rewarded cruelty and demanded dehumanization. Her nickname, the Woman with the Dogs, reflects both her methods and her legacy. She is remembered not only for individual acts of brutality, but as a symbol of how bureaucratic evil can be carried out by those who might otherwise seem unremarkable. Thanks for watching.